Don't worry, everybody. It's just 4 more years. This is Epic Thought. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, everybody, logging on to Epic Thoughts. Again, my name is Ramon. Carla will be with me shortly. We're doing a special Tuesday night episode of Epic Thoughts in the building. Oh, I don't have my button. Maybe I'll grab it when Carla gets on here. But yeah, it's Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, which means all across the country of the United States of America, for those of you who are not part of the USA but watch Epic Thoughts, today is election day, everybody. Election day is today. And today on this episode of Epic Thoughts, Carla's going to log on in just a few minutes here. We're going to start showing you some live updates. Actually, I'm going to show you a live update right now of what's been going on in the presidential election. We're bringing to you live updates throughout the hour. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on. We're going to have conversations about how we're feeling. When you're on, I see people already on there. Just give me a shout out. Tell me how you're feeling right now. We were going to have a couple of guests on here. They already started drinking and they don't feel like being on the show. So I get it. It's a real stressful time for a lot of people with everything going on, but I just want to encourage you, and you'll hear me say this throughout the whole show today. You're going to be okay. God is in control. Everything's going to be fine. People don't want to hear that. People want to hear that their guy won. However, unfortunately, some things are not going to go the way we want them to go. And so Carl will be joining me in any minute now. But until then, let me show you what we got going on. Let's look at the results. If you can see it right there, the solid red and solid blue means that state has already won that state. And I'm going to break down to you in a second what it means to win a state. So if you see a light, for example, you see Texas right here, that means it hasn't been decided yet. This light blue Minnesota means it hasn't been decided yet. If it goes solid, that means that state has won to that color. Red is Donald Trump, blue is Joe Biden, and there are other colors, but you never see them. So as you see right here, Biden is winning Minnesota, Trump is winning Texas right now, which is interesting because just a couple hours ago, Trump was losing Texas. Biden was losing Texas. Hey, KJ, President Kanye, his color is purple. I'm not sure. I don't know what his color is, but he's obviously not winning any states, and so it is what it is. So Carla's about to log on any minute now, and while she does, man, I just want to, again, thank you for coming on to Epic Thoughts today. Make sure you let us know KJ's in the building. What's up, KJ? There's been people getting on and off. I'm actually going to set my share up to share it on other people's pages so they know that we're here. But yeah, we're going to do live updates. And we're also going to talk about how and why the presidential presidency is ran this way and what options can we do to change it. Because I do believe that we as a people can change the policies. To an extent we could change it. But again, let's look at the graph right now while Carla's logging on. You can see right now Joe Biden is winning 131 to 98. You need 270 electoral votes to win. Now, again, these are not counting the states where they're leading in. For example, Arizona, Joe Biden is leading Arizona. That's interesting because that's a swing state. But that's not counting that. It's not counting Texas, which is 38 electoral college votes. That's all going to go to Trump. So if Trump keeps going this direction and wins Texas, it's going to be a neck and neck thing. And I think it's interesting that we have to the point where we have the presidency going down to the last wire. That's actually pretty interesting. And with that being said, we've heard, and we know both these cats. We know both Biden and Trump neither one is going to concede, even when the AP polls, and that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at CNN's numbers. We're not looking at Foxes. We're not looking at MSNBC. We're strictly what you're seeing here on the screen is basically the what you're basically seeing on the screen right here. That is the AP Press, okay, the Associated Press. They're the official people who will make the count. And so at this point, Carla's just logged on, so we're going to bring her in. Carla, what up, homie?
Hey.
Thanks for joining. I was just prepping the people where we're at right now. I don't know if you've seen it lately, so I'll just pull it up again. Right now, Biden has got a slight lead on Trump, 131-98. However, Texas swung since the last time me and you talked, and now Trump is leading Texas. And so when we talked earlier, I thought that was a big deal. I thought if Trump lost Texas, I think it's pretty much a wrap.
Right.
Also, Joe Biden is winning 131-98. This is not accounting to the light color states.
Okay. So it's all the states are already in dark blue.
The dark blue and dark red are the ones that they won. So basically, Biden has won the East Coast, which we saw that happening. What we didn't see is Trump leading Florida. And that's 91% reported. So that means Florida's about to call it. If Florida calls it and Texas calls it, that Trump won those states, which is it looks like it's getting pretty close. You're talking about 50, let me see, 30 votes there, 38 votes there. A swing of 60 votes goes over to Trump's side, which makes it a big, big swing. So
remind me, because I don't remember, remind me last year when they called the election, was it like at like California time, like 12 o'clock in the morning or something?
It was about midnight California time when they called it last time.
Okay, so like East Coast, it was like 2 in the morning or something crazy like that, right?
It was 3 in the morning for East Coast. And they didn't call it until midnight because it came down to what Hawaii and Alaska was saying.
Yeah.
Normally, a presidency is decided probably about 8 or 9.
Right.
Yeah. Again, like I think with this one, I think this one's going to go down to the wire, it looks like.
Yeah. Because I think I remember in times previously, like there was some elections where they didn't even wait for California because it didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter. I remember Obama's first term.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because that's when I voted in Oregon, and it didn't even matter.
Like, that's when you were living in Oregon?
Uh-huh. And it didn't even matter. Obama had won by like 5, and it was like, yep, it's done. And it was a landslide.
Did you already talk about the Electoral College and all that?
No, I'm about to get into that right now.
Okay. You talk about that. I will chime in.
Okay, yeah, you chime in. I just want to share. I'm just looking for the post so I can share it.
Okay.
And then we'll explain what the Electoral College is.
Okay.
Because I think that's important for people to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the go. Here's and again, I want to preface it. I want to preference by saying that the update that you're seeing on our page is not CNN bias, because CNN will call states out of hope. Fox News will call states out of hope. So what you're seeing on our feed here on Epic Thoughts, you're seeing the Associated Press. These are the people that will call it. So the Associated Press, that's what we go by. Okay. So here's how the Electoral College works. Okay. Stick with me here. So people have always made the comment or complaint about the Electoral College. The purpose of the Electoral College is that every state represented in the United States get a fair assessment of calling who they want to be the president. Okay. And people always ask, why can't we just go off the popular vote? For example, 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton had the popular vote by, I believe it was 300,000 votes. That's how close it was. However, the Electoral College is built to make sure that every state gets hit and every state has a representation of who they want in the office. Now, if we did not have the Electoral College and just went off of popular vote, a candidate would considerably ignore literally the Midwest and the Central states. For example, right now, I did the numbers. If we just did the popular vote, a president can win the election if they got the popular vote of California, Texas, Florida, and New York. So that means, so here's population wise, 4 states make up 1/3 of America.
So basically, middle America wouldn't matter.
Middle America wouldn't matter. No. So that's why we don't do popular vote. That's what the Electoral College is for. So every state, based off of their population, gets a certain amount of electoral college votes, electoral votes. Okay. Those electoral votes are decided based off of the popular vote of that state. So the popular vote of that state, it's actually a breaking down of the popular vote of the state plus the different counties in that state, how they voted. And even so, there's small chance, it doesn't really happen a lot, but there's a small chance that the Electoral College can vote differently than what the result has shown them. So California could vote red if they really, really wanted to and disregard what California was saying, but very seldom has that ever happened.
So who elects these people?
This is how we elect the Electoral College. This is how we elect and find and distribute states. I mean, this is how we base that off of. The census. The census is, people tell you that the census is all about money and stuff like that. The truth is that's not what the census is about. The census that we take every, 10 years maybe? You mentioned it a couple times that it seems like every election year we take a census. What they're trying to do is they're trying to take away Electoral College from some small states and add it back to the bigger states. So that's why they push in big states. This year, if you notice, they were making commercials and advertisements for the census, to join the census for the African American and Latino community. Okay. I don't know if anybody watched it. It was completely a big agenda where every advertisement was trying to get Blacks and women and Latinos in the census, because the census determines the Electoral College, how many votes that state gets. And so, and then if you can register to vote, that even adds more emphasis to it. So that's how they govern it out.
I would imagine, though, with COVID, that would probably affect the census too, right? Don't you think? Perhaps.
Yeah, I think it would.
I mean, displaced people that, just decided not to fill it out. I mean, I don't know. Life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how this pandemic has affected people, and what trickle effect it has on other things.
Yeah. So that's what the Electoral College is for. And I think the pandemic really did a deal with that. But I'll tell you what, they were digging for people of the census. They were digging, like almost, I don't know if you had anybody come to your house. I had a couple times people come to my house and literally want to look over my shoulder, like, who's in the house? They want to know who's in that house because they're trying to get certain states that they know. And I don't want to, we're not going to be that kind of show today where we're going to side on one or the other, but we will say that there's been a couple of parties that really, really push who's in the house trying to get that. What's up, Anthony?
Right, Anthony?
Is there something special today? I didn't know.
I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, oh yeah, tomorrow's the election. And they're like, wait, tomorrow's November 3rd? I'm like, yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
With early voting and mail-in voting, a lot of people already voted. Mm-hmm. So, they're probably not too focused on the date, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of people are on pins and needles because of what we're seeing. Not what we're seeing. People are on pins and needles for last week. And you were saying that the National Guards in certain cities across the country, people are just on high alert right now for what's going on. And we're just looking at the graph again. But Carla, talk to me. Where do you think we are at right now? Are you nervous still? I know you had a little bit of anxiety even before the show.
I just have anxiety in general. It's been every election year, but I had to refocus myself and just know that no matter who wins, Jesus is on the throne. So that's all I gotta say. But I'll be honest, ever since last election, I was like 110% sure that Hillary Clinton was going to win. So I don't make predictions anymore because I was completely blindsided by the fact that Trump won. And who knows what's going to happen this time? I have no idea.
Yeah, and
No
it's
idea.
right now, as we just saw the numbers, it is way too close to call. It's way too close to say who's going to win this thing. Just looking at this graph, well, let's just talk about this graph. What we're seeing right now is just 2 hours ago, Texas was Joe Biden's. He was leading Texas by a lot, Carla.
Crazy.
And within the last 2 hours, it flipped, and now it's Trump is taking a big lead, and they're almost done reporting that one. And then a new one just came on, Montana, who we thought was Trump's, is
wow,
going blue. And so this thing is just so, if you see like Florida, it's pretty much a wrap. You know, they're going to call that to be Trump's pretty soon. Remember, guys, the one who gets to 270 is the winner of the presidential election. That's who the president is.
You know, I don't know why it's this type of thing is so stressful, but I think when we talk about this all the time, there's other things on your ballot, like senators and propositions that affect your daily life.
Yes.
And those are important as well. I mean, I would venture to say that those local elections in your state probably have more of a impact on your overall living, you know, situation in general. So those are important things to vote for too, to make sure you're informed, not just who's president, you know?
Yes, I agree 100%. And people need to take that into theory too, because I think I was more concerned about, I'll show you, and we can see it on the screen too, because it'll tell us the Senate and the House. Those are important ones too. So we see right here, Biden's leading, but this is Texas and Florida and Georgia have not been called. Those are all going to go to Trump. North Carolina has not been called. That's going to Trump.
North Carolina is like,
yep. Ohio is a swing state that's going to Trump, and Pennsylvania was a swing state that looks like it's going to Trump.
Wow.
So, and Michigan was a swing state, and it looks like it's going to Trump. It's getting shady.
Wow.
Let's go to look at the Senate. We can look at the Senate right now. It is a dead tie.
Oh my gosh, that's bananas.
The Senate is a dead tie, 41-41. So that's a dead tie. The House, the Republican Party is leading the House. Now, all intents and purposes, Carla, the worst case scenario, I think, for me, just as a bipartisan type person, the worst case scenario is one party wins all three.
That would not be ideal. We need balance.
Yeah.
You know, we need balance in this country for sure.
Mm-hmm. So to right now, before today, for people who don't know, we had a Republican president who was Trump. We had a Democrat-ran House, which was ran by the Democrats.
Oh my gosh.
And then we had a Republican Senate. Okay.
What states lost Senate seats? Do you know?
We can look and it'll tell us who lost their seats. The Senate seats, actually, it's not telling us who lost. It's not telling us who lost.
Because I know there were some certain states that did lose a couple of Senate seats.
Mm-hmm.
I think California was one of them, but I'm not sure.
California definitely lost the Senate seat. We lost Kamala.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, because she has to pull to go for vice president.
Right, but I mean, that seat, is it going to come back?
Not to her. No, we got to vote for. There's two seats that were up this year for California. It was Pete Aguilar, and the spot that Kamala Harris relinquished.
Got it.
Yeah, and they were both Democrats. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in California. Which, and then also another thing, like Anthony also agreed with you, Carla, the propositions are very big, right? A lot of people, I feel like a lot of people just voted for the presidency and didn't pay any attention or anything to the propositions. Unfortunately, we don't have those because it's based off the state that I'm sitting in. So the propositions are not available to us yet. Like 22, 23. There's a lot of them.
Didn't they put on the ballot the gig law ballot? Didn't that make it to the ballot?
22, but only in the state of California.
Right. Because it's not federal or anything like that. It's
no, because the battle is only for the state.
So what do you think about that?
About Proposition 22?
Yeah, tell the people what it's about.
So basically, Proposition 22 is for gig workers, people who work Uber, Lyft, Postmates,
right?
Yeah, anyone who's 1099 through web app-based work. Now they've clarified it through app-based work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So basically, what they're saying is the state wants there's an assembly bill that passed, AB 5, forcing Lyft and Uber to make their app-based independent workers employees. So that means that they would have to pay taxes on, taxes, insurance, all these things. Obviously, the app-based industry is not built for that. There's a tough way to regulate that. And one of the key elements of working these app-based businesses is the freedom that you get to work on the app-based business. They have freedoms.
Right.
So they decided to put it on the ballot, which took a long time and almost to the point where Lyft and Uber threatened to pull their app programs completely out of California.
It was like the day of, wasn't it?
The night before, yeah. The judge kind of came in and said, "Okay, we'll put it on the ballot." So Prop 22. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, the effect that would have had on the industry, but also on the people that rely on the service, would have been really impactful, right?
It would have been horrible. Yeah, people were really, really nervous. A lot of people were nervous. So they put the ballot on So Proposition 22 is basically this. If you vote yes, a yes on Prop 22 will keep the drivers as independent contractors. However, Lyft and Uber and all these people have decided that they're going to step up their game and add a level of
protection
benefits, and protections. So that one being accident insurance, which is really a big deal to me. I'm like, wow, accident insurance, that's huge. Second is miles pay. So sometimes we don't get paid because I do Lyft. So sometimes we don't get paid on mileage accurately. We don't get paid to go pick up somebody. We only pick them up. We only get paid if they get in the car. But now they're talking about if it passes, they're going to give us a kick out for the mileage we drive when there's no one in the car while the app is on. And then the third thing is healthcare for drivers who work minimum of 20 hours, 15 to 20 hours. So I think that's a pretty fair ballot. So that's one of the major ones that's in the state of California. 23 is another big one in the state of California for the dialysis machines.
Tell me about that. I don't know about that one.
23 is a proposition coming that if it passes, it will shut down many of the dialysis companies, like private-owned dialysis companies in the state, and keeping it to where only the state can approve where you can go to get your dialysis at.
Why is that, you think?
Money. I think everything comes down to fiscal.
Do they want to give that to like Medi-Cal? Like what?
It wasn't. No, it's private insurance.
So they want to eliminate your ability to go to private insurance, and they want it to only be ran by the state?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's odd.
That's a big one. And 21 is another big one that's going out right now too. Rent control in the state. And rent control is a big deal. It didn't pass 4 years or 2 years ago, and they put it back on the ballot and kept the same exact wording as it was 2 years ago.
That's intense.
So those are some of the major ballots in California. But here we go. We're going back to the presidency. Not much has changed. As you can see, Biden is still winning the Electoral College, 131 to 98. But again, we got to clarify these numbers. They've been known to switch real quick. So these numbers are not going to get lower. These are for states that these are for the electoral college that they have won. They've won these states. So Texas is still up for grab, but it looks like Trump is running away with that. Florida, he's running away. Trump is running away. Georgia, Trump is definitely running away. And North Carolina, it's getting tight. You can see
my God, that's nerve-wracking.
That's 100. Carla, that's 40,000 votes. North Carolina is in a tight race. 40,000 votes will determine that state. That's crazy. And you can see the blue states. Biden is running away in Minnesota, but I think we all saw that coming.
Yeah.
Iowa, Biden's running away in Iowa. Montana, which is the surprise one. However, I think some of the early numbers, and Arizona is another one I'm surprised. He's running away with it in Arizona. Only by 200,000, though. 200,000 votes. And look at this, 15,000 votes in Montana. And these are, and when you see these early numbers too, people, what you need to understand, when you see the early numbers in the votes, those basically represent the bigger cities. And I think the reason why Texas had Biden winning so quick and early,
Houston,
because it was Houston and Austin were the ones that turned in their ballots. So of course he won in Houston. Of course Biden was winning Houston, Austin, and some parts of Dallas. But as the state starts turning him in, the rural states, you start to see that balance out. So
intense, man. It's always intense.
So talk to the people who are listening right now, Carla. What can we say to them? Because I didn't feel any kind of pressure until I started getting text messages, and I was like, maybe I should feel pressure because people are sending me text messages and they're making me feel nervous. What can we say to put people at ease, regardless of the side of the spectrum they sit on this?
What I said earlier, I mean, ultimately, a lot of people view, a lot of the things that are happening with our presidential candidates as an end all be all. And, I don't know if everybody believes in Jesus, but I definitely do. And I know that regardless of the outcome, regardless of what side of the political spectrum you land on, Jesus is the author and he sits on the throne and he's the ruler of my life. No president, no person is ever going to replace that position he holds in my life. So that is the hope that I lean on. And that is the hope that I have. Therefore, at first I got a little anxiety and then I had to be like, nah, like just like you said, with all the text messages, I had to put it back in perspective because it's easy to get caught up in all of that. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, for the people who are watching, I just want you guys to just be calm, man. First of all, it's only 4 years. Like, I know
it's not forever.
It's not forever. We thank God we don't live in a place where we're talking about a king, because we have to live with that dude until that sucker died. So, I mean, honestly, Max, if let's look at it in perspective. If Trump wins, we got 4 more years, and I know people don't like that idea, but you got 4 more years, and then he's gone, and he can never be president again. However, if Biden wins, you got 4 years minimum,
right,
with him, and then we have to go through this whole thing again, and he's got to defend why he should keep his job for another 4 years.
Right.
However, I will say this: if Biden wins, I don't think he can do anything more than 4 years. There's a lot of people who don't think that he will live 4 years. However, that's sad but true. A lot of people just don't think he's going to make it. I honestly, part of me wants to say if Biden wins, we'll see Kamala at the end of the 4 years as president of the United States. I'm just
100%.
That's
100%. And if I'm being honest, not being, just taking the opinion out of it, it's an interesting move because the people did not elect Kamala.
No.
The DOJ did not elect her. So I think that's very interesting because who's to say that people don't think the same way you're thinking and they're really voting for her, but which I find odd at the same time because she dropped out of the race. So I don't know. It's interesting.
It could be possible that she was persuaded to drop out of the race because maybe this was a plan that's, listen, you drop out the race, we'll talk Biden into making you the running mate and we'll get you in there. You know, that could be possible. However, let's just go here. Let's go here. Since we got people here watching, and you're more, please include us, talk to us in the chat. Carla.
Oh, who did he win? Who did Trump win?
Trump won the state. He won the state. Let's see what
South Carolina? No.
He won. No, that was already Louisiana.
Whoa. That's a really big margin.
That's a big margin. Which takes me to, let's go here. Since we're looking at this, this was my whole thing about the campaign coming into this, right? The campaign for me, I didn't understand what the Democrats' plan was, right? I still to this day don't get what the plan is. Like, to me, I feel like I'm not a politic guy, but I feel like the plan to beat Trump in my head, how I would work it, is fairly simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying, you know me. I'm not gonna, and we don't abuse our platform at Epic Thoughts, and we're not really gonna sit here and tell you who we voted for and stuff like that. But I will say this: if I was somebody who had to put together a plan to beat Donald Trump, I think it'd be fairly simple. Especially if you are in the Democratic Party and you have the media, technically they're in your pockets, you know. So there are several people I feel like could have very well actually out debated Trump, like debate him really tough.
100%.
I think just two people off the top of my head is Yang. I think he would debate Trump tough, and Gabbard.
I was gonna say Tulsi Gabbard. I honestly feel strongly like I would have liked to hear more from her, but I would have been proud to be like, I voted for Tulsi.
Yeah, so
there was a lot about her that I liked.
Those are two people that I felt like that they could build a tough plan, and it'd be hard for Trump to overcome those two individuals. However, I feel like they didn't really they didn't try to, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, whatever, you could give me pushback. It doesn't feel like the Democratic Party were looking for people because here's the thing. I think Yang and Gabbard, they would have been a very bipartisan nominee. Their goal would have been get everybody in the room and let's hash this out and make a plan. You know, they wouldn't be like, as a Democrat, we're going to do this. They would have been there and says, I would like to get in the room with I can't think of any Republicans in the Senate right now, but that's an interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
See, we don't know.
No, I mean, oh my gosh, he's Texas. What's his name?
Oh no.
He ran for president.
Huckabee.
No. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But because I think because they're so bipartisan, and they, like, for example, Joe Rogan's one of those guys. Joe Rogan is a guy, he's a Democrat. We know what he stands, we know what he believes. But Ted Cruz, Carla.
Ted Cruz, thank you. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. But like they would have been in the room, they would have got people in the room, like I said, your boy Joe Rogan. These are Democrats that are willing to sit at the table with Republicans and have conversation to where they could come up with a bipartisan plan, right? And that's not what the plan that they wanted to go with. They wanted to bring in somebody who's just as tough, just as strong-willed, just as edgy as Trump, and they brought in Joe Biden. Now, looking at these results, I'm actually kind of shocked it worked out somewhat for them. I mean, there are some states on here that normally are red that they're able to win over, like New Mexico's normally a red. Montana is normally red. Arizona is a swing state. Illinois, they, that's, no, Illinois is normally blue. So they kind of got their way a little bit, but at the same time, it's just like they didn't have a very true plan to beat Trump. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there was no clear plan. And so now we're just dealing with more of the same. And it's kind of exhausting to see politics in our country be wasted because it's such a wonderful thing. We live in a country where it's such a wonderful opportunity to vote and have a voice and really handle it well. But in the last couple of elections, I feel like we failed to handle it with dignity.
I mean, like you said, the thing that makes this country beautiful, and we could talk and nitpick about little things, and that's for another time. But ultimately, no matter who you're voting for, that is a right that you have because people believed in that right so much that they were willing to die for it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not something that should be taken lightly, even, and some people don't believe in either candidate, and that's fine. But that's your right. That is your right. However you choose to use it is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
what does this mean for you moving forward? Looking at the numbers, what does this mean to you?
Honestly, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. It is gonna be just a regular day. I just got a new job working. I told you this. Working at a hospital at the ER. And for the very first time, I saw somebody die in front of my face. The wife was there. She was hysterical. She was crying. They were trying to resuscitate him for 30 minutes. And the only thing that ran through my mind, the election came to mind, the division in this country came to my mind. All of these things came to my mind. And the only thought that I had was, I hope that man knew Jesus, because that's the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you think about your life as being a vapor and you think about the importance that you place on the time that you have on this earth, we have to use it in a way that gives him glory. And that's what I'm saying. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. Jesus is still Lord. He still sits on the throne, and I'm going to walk out of there just like it's any other day, because and to God be the glory.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Amen. Wow.
What about you?
Girl, you should ask me first, because I wasn't getting as deep as you were.
That's just how that's probably never going to leave me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never going to leave me.
Yes. Dang. Yeah, you should ask me first. Because I wasn't going to get that deep. So now I feel like I have to.
Well, lighten it up. Lighten it up. Lighten it up. You know what I mean? Lighten it up for the people.
I honestly, I think I could, not deep, but I can have my little, like you, tomorrow morning. I'm curious. I'm just curious to see who wins, of course. So I'm going to stay up. we got to do some other Heritage Park work anyway. So I'll stay up and do my work. And then I'll keep looking at the numbers. I'll keep looking at what it says and what's going on. And whoever wins, right? That's the president. And I've always been like that. I wasn't, and I just learned to roll with whatever shows up. You know what I'm saying? Whoever gets in the job is the one I roll with. I remember being not a huge Obama fan. I didn't vote for Barack Obama neither term. I didn't vote for him neither one. However, when he left the office, I loved him. Was I a fan of his policies? Absolutely not, man. Obamacare sucked butt. But it did. Just Obamacare just sucked. And there's a lot of policies that he had I just wasn't a fan of. However, as a leader, I feel like he handled it with so much grace.
For sure.
Him and Michelle were just so gracious. They were
my favorite presidential couple of all time.
Together, they were second to none.
hashtag relationship goals.
They were something else. And so when they left, I kind of felt a certain way, like, you know what? I didn't like them, but you did a good job. There were some things I would change, but you know what? Good job.
Look,
you know,
respect.
Yep. Respect. And I always feel that way. You know, every time I hear him or something, I'll stop and listen to him, be like, all right. And I feel like the same way with Trump. I was kind of like some things there are some policies I liked his policies a little bit better than Obama's, but I've been very, very candid on this show. I hate his tweeting thumbs. Like I wish I could, if I could do anything, I cut off his thumbs so he couldn't tweet no more. That's just that way that's just ridiculous. Like I don't want to. I got so sick and tired of hearing the president talk about TV ratings of shows that he don't like. Like that was just like I almost in my head like, nigga, don't you got work?
Just, like who cares?
Like who cares? Like when he started talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and he goes, The Apprentice will never have the same kind of viewership that I had. Like who cares? You left the job, so it's like just calm down, just slow down.
That's hilarious though.
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna wake up and I know that I have kids to feed. I got a family to lead. I'm going to do the best to build the kind of business that I believe in. I'm going to do me. And I've always been that guy, you know? And like you said, I'm actually more concerned about the propositions in California than I am about the person who's running the United States. Because again, it's just 4 years, right? It will be 4 years done if Trump wins. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get a second 4-year term out of Biden. I don't think he's got the stomach for it. I honestly don't think he does.
Won't he be like the oldest president if he's elected the oldest president?
Either one of these guys would be the oldest.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. This is the run of the seniles. This is the this is the run of the seniles. How many people are going to lead the U.S. if their man or woman don't win? Okay? I don't think a lot of them are going to leave because they can't afford to.
Little, what's his name? The one who sings Gucci Gang? I don't know his name.
Lil Pump, the one that spoke at the Trump rally?
Yeah, he said he's leaving. Look, bye.
Bye.
I mean, okay. Go ahead.
We barely knew you, Lil Pump.
Look, your song was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Go make some more bad songs somewhere else.
Prop 17. Prop 17. I'm going to look that one up because I remember that was one of the ones I had a problem with because I didn't understand. But that's another one big in California right now. Prop 17.
If people leave the United States, go ahead. You know, that's you're right. That's what you want to do. That's what you should do.
Yes, James, 17 and 20. 17 is restoring, I think 17 is restoring a felon's right to vote. And 20 is parole sentencing for nonviolent offenders. And if for Californians, those were tough ones to vote on because they were very careful on what how they worded it.
So okay, wait. So felons, if this proposition passes, felons will be able to vote only in their local government, but not for the president in California?
After the 17, if it's a yes, 17 will restore voting rights. And James, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They can restore voting rights for people once they finish their term. For people who complete their prison term, they'll get restored. I believe it's all voting rights.
Oh, but how when that's not a federal law?
I'm not sure how they're going to work at that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and 20 is basically stricter sentencing for nonviolent offenders.
And look, I'm not being funny, but none of the felons will be able to vote on that proposition who that's their special interest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to rely on their family members.
Yeah, it does cost more in taxpayers' dollars, but I think I know 17 will cost more in taxpayers' dollars, but not on a major scale, James. I believe it's very minimal because we will be paying for more ballots and more access to them. and I think that's what they said on the price for that. But
So
yeah,
it'll cost more for taxpayers. Lord Jesus, Lord knows that taxpayers don't need to pay more in California. That's all I gotta say.
we're done. Yeah,
Jesus
definitely.
easy. And what about Prop 20? What did you say it was again?
Prop 20. Prop 20 is the harsher, stricter sentencing for nonviolent offenders.
So
it's actually loosening. It's actually loosening sentences for nonviolent offenders.
So what's considered? See, listen.
That right there is what I was reading. I was like, okay, what's considered nonviolent? Now here's the caveat to that. They left such a wide variety that it actually can be on the precedent of the judge residing.
So it's up to the judge.
It could be up to the judge at some point. It could be up to the judge. That right there is scary to think about, because you're talking about a level of systemic. So,
I mean, nonviolent.
Right. Date rape is currently considered, and they did, and date rape is currently considered nonviolent. And that's what I was looking for, James. Like date rape. I was also looking at crimes against minors, sexual crimes against minors. They're not considered. That's considered nonviolent.
How?
Yeah. Okay. So,
listen, California. I'm gonna need y'all to do something, okay? First and foremost, I just want to back something up really quickly. On that Proposition 20, who is putting that on the ballot? And if you don't agree with that, which I think it's ludicrous. I mean, I haven't done my due diligence and research on that prop, so I'm not, I'm just basing it off of the information I have here. But why would you keep electing officials like this that would put ballots and bills into place that would consider crimes against minors nonviolent and date rape nonviolent? Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning. And that should be an indication, like I said in the beginning, to make sure you're involved in your local politics, because those type of people are not the type of people that should be writing laws, if that's the case.
Yes. And the other thing is and this is one of the things that I beef with Kamala Harris about. She was part of the team that brought in, I think it was Prop 47 a few years ago, which was adding intensity to certain nonviolent crimes. And again, like James said,
yes, you're right.
Like James mentioned before, date rape is not a nonviolent crime, so they won't get harsher punishment. However, under Kamala's Proposition 47, we put a lot of people in jail for a long period of time for marijuana possession.
I remember talking to you about this 2 years ago, James. I remember our conversation about this. I wanted to caveat that.
Yeah. So
go
ahead.
I mean, that's definitely interesting, but I mean, people, I don't know how do people get educated about these things? So a lot of the times the wording is confusing. It's long. Most people just want, like, just give me the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people don't read up on certain things.
The problem with that bottom line idea that people just want the bottom line is you're opening the door for propaganda.
Right.
And like no one could watch TV for the last 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks. 2 weeks without propaganda. Like I was so convinced. I don't want to share my voting history today, but I was so convinced I was going one way on the proposition, and just because of the commercials.
You're like,
I was like, no, what? Who supports this? No, who doesn't support this? And then when I read the proposition, I wasn't just going to vote. I read the proposition. I was like, oh, I actually don't see what they see. Like I read, you
Fine
know,
print, like James is saying.
yeah, you gotta read the fine print, man. You got some. There's these little words that they put in there, man, that could throw you up for a loop. And the other thing too, that to caveat to add to what James is saying, is you also need to take into account who's paying for this propaganda, who's putting this on the ballot, and who's fighting it. You know, those are really, really big deals.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. Let's see what's going on in our presidential election. Not much is changing. I feel like in about 5 minutes, the Pacific's going to shut down. In about because 5 o'clock is when 5 o'clock Pacific time is when you'll start to see the ballots being read. We're not going to be able to be on here the whole time and tell you what California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Nevada, but we do want to stay on long enough so we can start to see where these votes are going, where these states are going, because this is also, as you can tell, this one's going down to the wire. It's going down to the wire, as you can see. Actually, oh, look at that, Carla. 300 votes separate Biden and Trump in Montana right now.
Whoa. You know when they say every vote counts.
Every 300 votes separate Montana. They just called a state. They just called, I believe they just called New Hampshire for Biden. Yeah, they just called it right now. So now it's 135, 108. But look at this. 300 votes separate Biden and Trump in Montana.
Crazy.
Texas, Trump is running away with it. Florida, these are the states we're looking at mostly. Trump's running away in Florida. Georgia, he's running away in Georgia. North Carolina, it's really, really close. 60,000 votes are separating Trump and Biden in Georgia. PA was a big deal, swing state. So 300,000 votes swing on that one. Ohio, 400,000 votes. Michigan, he's running away in Michigan. Wisconsin, he's running away in Wisconsin. Minnesota, Biden's got that unlocked, it looks like. And Iowa, 180,000 votes swing, but it's Biden's got the lead on that one. In Arizona, which is another one that we were watching, there's 200,000 votes have been counted for, and they're pretty close to being done in Arizona. So any of these numbers shock you? Any of the states shock you?
No. I mean, not really. I mean, what did Trump have last year? That would be, I wish I had a side by side to know how people voted last year.
Sure.
A lot of Democrat voters voted via mail. A lot of Republicans showed up today. So initial closing polls will show blue. Oh, interesting. So they're saying that a lot of Democratic voters mailed in their ballots and a lot of Republicans came to the polls directly. Okay.
Right. However, if they mailed it in a week ago, which a lot of Democratic voters did do, or if they mailed them in before Saturday, they were counted today because it doesn't go national. It goes to their county.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. It goes to their county because they got to report their county. So even if they put it in their mailbox, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're calling the Dodger blue, James. California is going blue. There's no doubt. Yeah. I think everybody was calling California blue. Everyone was. Even though I've heard some rumors that people were being hopeful about California because, Newsom was really messing people up.
I mean, look, just vote for your governor.
Yeah. Let's look at the Senate real quick, and I have a couple more questions, and then we'll let you guys go. I know people are like, the people want to get their drink on because it's like they can't get through this without a glass, and I understand. Let's look at real quick the Senate, and because those are another ones that we want to talk about. So let's pull this back up.
Oh.
The Senate is close.
Whoa.
It's very close in the Senate. The Republican Party's 42, Democratic Party's 41. The race is 51. 51 means that they got the majority vote. Okay, that's crazy. That means that these, and look, if you look on the East Coast, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, Georgia, Florida, that means they actually Florida's not giving up a seat, so there's no election in Florida for the Senate. These are really tight races. These are very tight races. It can go either way, man. It's just crazy. Let's look at the House right now.
That's dude, crazy. Could you imagine if the Senate and the House was both Republican and then we have a Democratic president? How tough that's gonna be?
It's gonna be a hard listen, Carla.
Whoa.
Listen, Carla, they gonna give Biden's gonna have the roughest job if he has a Republican House and a Republican
Kamala Senate. Is gonna have the
these two people, they gonna fight. I
hope Kamala was nice to her peers because you know how it goes when you work with people.
Yes, man. Look at those numbers though. Like, I wasn't expecting the House to swing. I really wasn't. And you're right, it's still a long night ahead. But man, I didn't know it was gonna be that close, man. It's a pendulum, it's just a pendulum. It's crazy.
Woo!
I agree. That's why there needs to be term limits for Congress and the Senate.
Yeah.
There definitely needs to be. And governors. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, there is, right? 8 years?
8 years, yes. We just got to get rid of Newsom. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud?
You did.
What California don't want to get rid of him? 2 more questions. Let's do these 2 questions and we can get off and go eat, whatever we got to do. Carla, are there any things that you see in this election process, not this particular election, but the election process in general that needs to be reformed? If you had the opportunity to change anything in our election, in our process to pick a president, what would you change?
I wish there was a way we can make things really, really secure and just have everybody vote on their smartphone. Like, you would get probably like 98% turnout if all I had to do was go on my smartphone, click, 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 and all done. If that could be safe and we could find a way to make it safe, that would be ideal. Or just like a place where people could just educate themselves about what's going on in a way that they can understand, to be more educated about what's going on, Yeah.
One thing I would really like to see is, and I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, if you voted, you saw that there were 6 different presidential candidates. Okay. And I know this is a deal it's not going to happen in the next election. It's going to take like 15 to 20 years minimum. But I would like to see some of the other parties really take a stab at this thing. And I would love to see a third party just kind of bring a lot of big balance in and stop and take these majority decisions away from either Republican or Democrat. I would love to have that concept of not having to have to choose between this standard and this standard. Like, there's a lot of people in this country, they're kind of here. They're picking Democrat because they just don't like Trump. I guarantee you a lot of people will pick Republican because they don't like Biden in 4 years, right? So there's got to be some different grounds. And like, if you look at the Independent Party, the Libertarian Party, the Greenpeace Party, the Freedom Party, there's some good and bad in every group, but I would love to see media kind of focus in on them a little bit more. Like, I feel like Yang was somebody for example, that's my boy. Like Andrew Yang was my boy. He ran Democrat, but I feel like he could have ran Republican. He could have ran independent. He could have ran anywhere and really make something happen. But because the media is just so focused on, we have this old mindset, and the way media is made today to have social media and media in general, it's such a vast experience that we don't have to settle with just two people. Because literally, I feel like a lot of people were like, this is all I have to choose from, Biden and Trump. So then Kanye comes out and goes, I'm going to run for president. And then people are like, well, if you vote for him, you're throwing away our that vote. What?
I want to know how many people are voting for Kanye. Like, where is that poll?
Let's see if we see the election result for Kanye. California, look at that.
I mean, did you really think California wasn't going to take it?
No, I knew he was going to take it.
But how could they already call California when the polling place just closed?
Look at they're calling it right now, and there's only a 30, and they've only counted a little bit less than 100,000 votes. They're calling it at 100,000 votes.
There's just not enough votes for Trump to win California. Is that what it is?
That's what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
Washington, they didn't even tell us how many votes. They just know he won.
Crazy.
Oregon. Wow, that's
who did Trump just win?
I don't. It doesn't. I can't see.
Up.
But I'll tell you what, Montana switched.
Crazy.
So now Nevada is the key. Nevada.
But you said they haven't called the light ones, right?
They haven't called the light ones yet. So they haven't called Montana. So these don't count. These haven't count to their vote total yet. So Montana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, these are big ones. North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Texas have not been called. So they're not added to this number yet. So for Biden, he's waiting for Minnesota. That'll put him at 219. Iowa will put him at 225. Arizona will put him at 246. That's still not enough to win.
What about Nevada, though?
Nevada hasn't even closed their polls yet. They haven't reported anything.
Oh,
so it literally is going to go down to Alaska and Hawaii.
You think so? Like last year?
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think Nevada has enough electoral college votes to put him at 270.
Ooh, Lordy. We're going to see it tomorrow, y'all.
Wow, guys.
Tomorrow we'll know.
Wow, guys. That's huge.
I mean, we knew California was going to go to Biden. It always goes blue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like in Bush Gore. I remember the Bush Gore one. That was crazy. 774. So it's going to.
What did James say?
I think he meant 144. But these are crazy times, man. The crazy times we're living in, people. Crazy times. In closing, Carlo, actually, we'll do this last question, then we'll close. I know your baby's in the room.
Yeah.
So this is a two-part question. What are you hoping for from each candidate? Let's just say Biden wins. What are you hoping for him from the next 4 years? What are you hoping for Trump for the next 4 years? What would you like to see?
I would like both of them to uphold. I just want them to do what they say they're going to do, first and foremost, but to also have the American people's best interests at heart. That's very broad because a lot of people want different things, but ultimately, I think what matters the most is your ability to provide for your family and live a life, that you're comfortable living and being able to feed your kids and enjoy the fruits of your labor. So somebody that's going to protect that.
Mm-hmm. I would like for I would like to see less bull crap. I would like to see less. They both talk crap, and I'm done with this stuff. I'm done with always pointing the finger and say, oh, this didn't get done because the House didn't do it, or this didn't get done because the Senate didn't do it. I would like to see more of a we concept, like we need to finish and we need to get this done for you. I would like to see some responsibility on their part. I would love to see some humility. I don't think I'm ever going to get it from these two. I honestly, there's a part of me just wants to like jump in the DeLorean, jump ahead 4 years and see who's running there, because I feel like the people deserve better than this. I think at the end of the day, we deserve better than bumbling Biden and tweeting Trump. Like I'm nervous if Biden wins the election because I'm trying to figure out what will he be like when he's not on his meds.
Damn.
Just putting it up like this.
Dang.
Like, we got a glimpse of him not on meds at the last debate. There's a point where his meds wore off and he was just kind of like lethargic. Did you see that? And it's kind of like, is he okay? Oh, bro, he's not on his meds. And then I want to see Trump on meds.
On meds.
So get Biden off meds and put Trump on meds. So that's what I would like to see.
Horrible.
Trump could swing Nevada. Nevada is a swing state because the casino workers are scared the casinos will close if their virus doesn't subside. I mean,
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's all of their bread and butter right there.
Mm-hmm. Nevada needs those casinos big time, bro.
Yeah, they do. That's their money.
Yeah. It's so nuts just watching this, and I'll point out this, and I'll let you go, Carla. It's just I have so much I could share about this. It's just crazy how back to what I said, the Democrats didn't seem to have a plan. Like, how were they planning on swinging Texas and Florida and Georgia? Like, what was the plan? Michigan. That was a state. The only state on here that I saw that was a swing state that's going to the Democrats is Arizona. And that thing could switch. But Nebraska was a swing state. Pennsylvania swing. Michigan swing. Florida swings. Minnesota, well, we knew after George Floyd, Minnesota wasn't going to be Republicans. No way. No chance.
No way, no how.
No way, no chance, no how. That was not going to happen. So, all right, Carla.
Good night, y'all. I'm going to sleep good. And I pray that everybody's safe. And just know tomorrow's a new day, no matter who wins.
Yep.
And you just keep doing what you can do, and everything's going to be all right.
Yep. And I'll just second Carla's statement saying, listen, do you wake up in the morning, be the best version of yourself. I'm wearing my Kick Fear in the Face shirt today. Kick fear in the face. Go out there, kick fear in the face, do what you got to do. Make the life that you listen. Regardless of who's on, whoever runs the office, regardless who's the president, there's two things you need to know. You'll still die, and life is still what you make it. You still live in the greatest country, regardless who's the president, right? And guess what? It's only 4 years. If we don't like him, if we don't like Biden, we can get him out. If we don't like Trump, he's getting out. He can't go longer than 4 years, more years. So don't let that take you away from what you gotta do, right? Be the best version of yourself that you can. Work hard, make things happen. And thank you, Anthony. That's a good point to leave on. It's not about the White House.
Hey.
It's about your house.
Yeah.
You need to get Anthony Griffin on the episode of Epic.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's work that out. Let's get him on here. All right, Carla, where can people find you? Oh, wait, you're not on social media because of the politics.
Not just politics. I'm just staying away from the crazy town, the crazy town. But I'm on Carla Finlayson. I may be back there one day.
Yeah, and if you're watching us on, if you're watching us on HPTV, that is now on Roku, you can watch HPTV, all Heritage Park programming, and some other stuff. We got some good stuff on there. Actually, I was talking to a manager today. We might have an interesting film coming on HPTV in the next, couple days here. So if you're watching us on HPTV, thank you for logging on. I think, I don't know what's coming on next on that channel, but just stay logged on. If you have a Roku TV, you can watch us every day, all the time on HPTV on Roku. And if you're not watching us on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for logging on. We're going to get off. Pray for your country, then pray for your family, and then pray for California on Prop 22. Let's one more time, Carly. Can we look at the let's look at the Senate and the House real fast. Not much change. The House, not much change. And see if the ballots, nothing on the ballots. All right. So we're out of here. We'll talk to you guys later. God bless you. Peace.
Bye.